A royal bloom, a tale from Kew Gardens. It was a day of crisp clarity, the kind of spring morning where the air itself sparkled like crystal. The gates of Kew Gardens, London's most treasured botanical haven, swung open to a select group of guests, each bearing an invitation sealed with a golden insignia, the intertwined crests of the king and queen. The occasion was rare and historic. For the first time in decades, the monarchs had agreed to host a public cultural gala in the gardens. The event was more than ceremony. It was an intersection of art, nature, and conservation, a celebration of both the modern and the timeless. Painted silk banners danced on the breeze, draped across wrought iron arches. Floral arrangements, curated by the Royal Botanical Artists Society, shimmered in hues of amethyst and coral, weaving a story of Earth's fragility and resilience. Beneath the towering glass domes of the Temperate House, curators readied rare exhibits. Paintings composed with pigments extracted from endangered plants, sculptures formed from recycled marine debris, and interactive installations powered by solar cells hidden in petals. As a string quartet played beneath a wisteria-covered archway, the royal motorcade arrived. The king stepped out first, tall, stately, clad in a tailored navy suit that subtly echoed the hues of dusk. The queen followed, her gown a marvel of ivory and pale green, stitched with silk leaves that caught the light like morning dew. Together, they moved through the crowd with practiced grace, but it was clear their presence was more than symbolic. This was their cause, the art of preservation, the preservation of art. "Welcome to the Garden of Futures," announced Lady Aloan Blythe, the event's curator and a renowned conservationist. She gestured toward a winding path flanked by exhibits. Each installation here tells a story, not of what we've lost, but of what we still have the power to protect. The first stop was Whispers of the Canopy, a series of vertical canvases towering like rainforest trees. The paintings used rare, plant-based inks derived from species on the brink of extinction. The queen lingered before one, a fluid portrayal of a disappearing mangrove, its roots bleeding into abstract tides. "Incredible," she whispered to the artist, a soft-spoken woman named Helena Veer. "This feels like it's breathing." "It is, in a way," Helena said. "The pigments fade faster if exposed to pollution. It changes with the air." The king chuckled warmly. "A living canvas. You've turned decay into dialogue." They moved next to a kinetic sculpture titled Second Life. It resembled a great seabird mid-flight, wings made of old fishing nets, bones shaped from sun-bleached driftwood. Sensors embedded in its frame responded to nearby movement, causing it to flap gently as though struggling through an invisible wind. As children reached out toward it, their giggles echoed across the lawn. The queen smiled. "Let the young play with it. If they love it now, they'll save it later." Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Near the Palm House, the monarchs joined a panel of artists, scientists, and indigenous leaders under a transparent pavilion called the Green Salon. Here, conversation flowed as freely as the afternoon tea. They spoke of forest rights, the role of art in climate activism, the dangers of synthetic dyes in waterways, and the hope that cultural memory, when tied to beauty, could outlive even the harshest realities. Then came the surprise. As twilight settled over the gardens, a hush fell upon the gathering. A platform was wheeled out to the heart of the great lawn. Upon it stood an object veiled in silk, the size of a throne. The king and queen approached. Lady Aloan handed them a pair of gardening shears, gilded, yet practical. Together, they cut a single thread, and the veil fell. Underneath was a tree not real, but rendered so perfectly in bronze and glass that many gasped. Its trunk twisted as if sculpted by wind, its leaves each etched with a name. The names of extinct plant species, and among them, in a different color, were the names of those still alive, barely. "This is the Heartwood Memorial," said Aloan. "It will stay here, at Kew, not as a warning, but as a vow." The queen stepped forward, touched a leaf inscribed with Oxygyne triandra, an African orchid lost to deforestation. Then let it grow, she said softly. Let its shadow remind us of light. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Applause rippled through the crowd. Cameras flashed. Yet behind the spectacle, something smaller was taking root. In the quiet afterward, beneath the flickering lanterns and moonlit glass houses, the king wandered toward a lesser-known corner of the gardens. There, he found a boy no more than 10, sketching in a tattered notebook. The child looked up, startled. I was drawing the glass bird, he stammered. I didn't touch it, I promise. The king knelt beside him. What's your name? Ezra. The monarch smiled. Ezra, you've got quite the eye. He gestured at the boy's drawing, which captured the sculpture mid-wing beat. You see not just what's there, but what it's trying to say. Ezra frowned. I think it's trying to say it's trapped. Like, it wants to fly away, but it can't. The king was silent for a moment. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out a small pin, his own insignia, a silver sapling. Then maybe you can help it someday, he said, pinning it gently to Ezra's collar. But not by freeing it. By making sure nothing else gets caught. Ezra's eyes widened. He didn't know what to say, so he just nodded. The king stood. Behind him, the queen approached. Come, she said, offering her hand. The stars are waking up. They walked together toward the closing ceremony, where holograms of blooming flowers lit the sky, where poems were recited in languages both ancient and new. A harpist played notes that mimicked birdsong and the final installation. A floating mirror pool reflected not just faces, but fragments of forgotten ecosystems. Later, as the carriages rolled away and guests filtered into the quiet dark, the Heartwood Memorial glowed gently beneath the moon. One leaf shimmered just a little brighter than the rest, the one that bore no name yet. The one waiting to be inscribed by someone who had not yet given up. The event at Kew, covered by every major outlet and streamed worldwide, was lauded not just for its opulence, but for its integrity. The royal presence had not overshadowed the message, it had deepened it. The king and queen had not merely attended, they had listened, spoken, learned. And somewhere in a quiet corner of the city, a boy named Ezra sat at his window, sketching the glass bird again. This time, he gave it a wide open sky. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.